Friday fishing report. We are going to start off up at the top at Willow Beach, the top of Lake Mohave, just below the Hoover Dam. We are seeing some stripers being caught at night. Nighttime seems to be the number one time to fish. They're being caught on anchovies, jerk baits, swim baits, and glide baits in various colors. It's a hit and miss thing. Half the guys are doing well, the other half aren't. Had a couple buddies up there fishing yesterday and landed a couple good fish. So Willow Beach is starting to turn on the striper bite. The trout bite, still the same thing. It's just a standard little power bait, night crawlers, and little rooster tails are working on light line. Right near the ramp where they were stocked, that is the best place for those trout. There are some larger trout still in there. Moving on down to the Princess Cove and Catherine's landing area of Lake Mohave. I cannot stress enough, even with the wind, that smallmouth bite is fire. If you can get them. Yesterday we were getting them in 20 feet of water, drop shotting, Ned rigging, all finesse fishing has been the way to go. Getting a couple on lipless cranks and crankbaits, but the big thing is finesse fishing with long cast on the primary point and secondary point at the openings of the coves and rocky bottoms in 20 feet of water. We are starting to see some striped bass being caught, mainly at night and mainly in the super early mornings. Most people get skunked, but a few buddies of ours have been getting into them. A few fish in the 5 to 8 pound range. Just starting, they're getting them on swim baits, trolling, and anchovies, just sitting and waiting it out. But again, that is a very, very early morning bite. Most guys getting out there at 3 in the morning, and that bite going from 3 in the morning to 6 in the morning. It hasn't kicked into full gear, but it is starting to see a little bit of hope. Largemouth, they're biting. You are going to hear some reports that are absolute hoo-ha that the largemouth aren't biting. Guys, we're getting them every single day. Literally every single day. Largemouth, we are starting to see some out on the main stem of the lake, but also in the very backs of the coves into the reeds, you're going to find a few back there. But again, mainly out on the main lake, deep water coming up to those cliffs where you see that nice turquoise water where there's little ledges. That's where you're going to find those largemouth biting. We've been getting them on 10-inch worms. A lot of the smaller plastics that we've been using, Ned rigs, 5-inch worms, finesse worms for the smallmouth, even the jackal. Yes, those little jackals, little 4-inch jackals in clear and blue and also green and tan for the smallmouth. But in reference to those largemouth, they're hitting those bigger worms. We're drop shotting 10-inch worms. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but hey, we're getting those things to bite. We're getting them every single day on the larger worms for the largemouth. Now, moving on down below Davis Dam for the striper bite on the river in the Laughlin and Bullhead area, as far south as Rotary Park. What can we say? The river has been, it's terrible. It's been terrible all spring, terrible start to the summer. We are getting some fish from time to time, and that's usually the more experienced anglers that are out there putting in the time, 8 hours, drift, casting jerk baits and glide baits and swim baits. Some shore guys are getting them on the anchovies, but man, this river has just been hit or miss. There's a lot of reasons why. The striped bass are still, some of the ones we're pulling out still have eggs. It's July 1st, still eggs in some of these stripers. Very odd year, still trying to figure out what's going on out there. It is very hit and miss, but if you put the time in, you should be able to pick off a few fish. We're hoping that improves, but again, this weekend's gonna probably be really tough with the 4th of July traffic out there. Tons of jet skis. The city of Bullhead has allowed a few more jet ski companies to open up, if you can believe that. It is a mess out there. If you're smart, you're gonna avoid the river this weekend. Also, another little tip, Lake Mohave is getting more and more crowded now that Lake Mead's, most of all the ramps at Lake Mead are closed with a 4-hour wait to launch there. So a lot of people are coming down and launching out of Catherine's Landing, Princess Cove, and Cottonwood Cove. However, you still can find some coves with no one out. So if you're planning on fishing this weekend, the hot tip is get up to Lake Mohave, get there early. If you get there before 6 in the morning, you're gonna have no problem launching. Retrieving your boat might be a little bit of an issue this weekend because it's going to be very, very, very crowded with the 4th of July weekend. Look for it to be crowded. However, there are so many coves up there, you still can find some areas to fish and get away from everybody. All right, folks, another little announcement. You can help support the channel and the reports. Our online store is open. You can go to this website right here, order some of our handmade plastics, handmade crankbaits, jerkbaits, swim baits, and more. We also have t-shirts, hats, all of that for sale. You can support the channel and the tackle shop and these reports. The more support that we get and the more products that we're selling online, the more videos that we can actually put out. Because yes, it does cost us money to get out there on the water. It does cost money to run the shop. So the more support we get, the more we can put out. All right, folks, we do appreciate all of you that have been ordering. It's been a lot of support. We absolutely appreciate it. Happy fishing this weekend, and we'll see you next Friday.